sorry, it's been a while, and hello, or should I say guten Tag, because I'm in Berlin, and over there, let's see if my camera work is excellent. No, it's not. It is the Brandenburg Gate. So I'm sitting on the West German side of the wall, and it's very noisy, apart from sitting between these trees here. And well, you might say, well, of course, living the jet-setting lifestyle, is this typical of a tech transfer manager? And the answer is, to be honest, no. Why am I here? I am here to talk about humanities and social sciences commercialisation in the Berlin Science Festival, which in a sense is quite ironic given what I'm going to talk about today. One of the most moving films I've seen was An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore, and what I found ironic about that film was they spent an awful long time filming Al Gore standing in an airport, and there he was talking about how we needed to reduce carbon emissions, and there he was flying across the world giving a very important message that potentially could have been done in a more efficient way. Anyway, what am I talking about, and why is it ironic? Well, I've been busy for the last 2 months because we've launched a new service in Oxford, and it's rather taken a lot of my time. It's rather exploded beyond anything that I would have expected, and it's been really hard work. And so actually the only time I've actually had to do the blog is when I've flown on an aeroplane and gone somewhere else. So I'm going to talk about social enterprise today, and the new product line that we've launched at Oxford, why we've done it, and what that's going to mean for humanities and social sciences in particular. Roll tape.
This is episode number 4, and we haven't looked at enough old buildings yet, have we? So let's have a look at the old buildings. We're standing in Exeter College, right in the centre of town, and the first 3 episodes have been based in our office, so I thought it was about to get out. Time to get out and see proper Oxford, because this is where I spend about half of my time. But one of the comments that I got on the vlog last time was, now I better understand what it is that you do for a living. Well, if that is the case, I'd really appreciate that person contacting me and telling me what I do for a job, because I really don't quite know. Today is a very unusual day because we're doing filming. We're filming with these wonderful ladies here.
Hi.
And Kath behind the camera as well.
Hello.
Yeah, Kath's running our incubator. She's got nothing better to do than hold the camera for us. Have you, Kath?
Definitely.
No. So what we filming for? Well, it's unusual. Don't do this all the time, but today we're launching a new product from Oxford University Innovation, and we think that it's going to have a particular relevance to people in humanities and social sciences. What is it? It's social enterprise.
Have you got an idea that could make a positive change to people's lives? Maybe you've done a research project that's had really great societal or environmental impact, and you know you could do so much more.
We're offering something new to help bring more of these ideas to fruition. Social enterprise.
Already we've supported LIFE, an educational game from tropical medicine to train healthcare workers in Africa to save more lives.
We've also worked on Greater Change, a project from the Side Business School, which uses an app to fund homeless people to help them rebuild their lives. We've helped get these off the ground through our crowdfunding platform, Oxreach.
But what next? How do you sustain these ideas in the long term?
Let's visualise companies on a spectrum, with mainstream shares companies at this end of the spectrum,
And charities here.
Up until now, we focused our activities on this end of the spectrum. Companies here have made a tremendous social impact, but for some projects, that just isn't enough.
In the middle of the spectrum sit social ventures. These are companies with a social purpose that's backed by the university, which are supported and formed by us.
If you want to set one up, we can help you do it. We can support you to find funding to kickstart your idea.
We can support you in building a team with the same objectives as you.
Your ideas.
Your expertise.
Your values.
Your choice.
However you want to make an impact, Oxford University Innovation is here to support you.
Now, those of you who've been following what we've been doing in Oxford for a while, and for instance, if you're in tech transfer, you know we've been doing this already, but what we haven't done is we haven't announced it to the university formally. I'll tell you how it all started. So, it's happened with two parallel streams happening at the same time. The first was actually from the tropical medicine department. There was a project there which was training health workers in Africa to save more lives at birth, and they designed a game so that health workers and midwives can learn how to deliver babies safely. But they couldn't get any funding from research councils to deliver that. So what they did was they set up a crowdfunding platform and managed to raise the money that they needed to develop the game. Around about the same time that they were doing that, I started working in humanities and social sciences, and as I was doing those first few meetings with professors and academics and students in those divisions, it became very clear that social enterprise was a potential model for delivering the impact that the projects that were in those divisions needed. So in working with the ladies that you've seen in the previous shot, we've been together trying to work out how we're going to deliver social enterprise as spin-outs, because if you're Imperial or in Cambridge or most universities, you focus very much on the investor model, the mainstream commercial entities, shares companies, and that works tremendously well, and it's there. It delivers really good social impact when you talk about your big pharma companies which are delivering new drugs. We've got a medicines access policy in Oxford, which means that yes, you can make profit out of the developed nations, but we've got to be able to deliver the vaccines and the medicines that are developed in our medical division at cost. But that's not enough for a lot of these projects, and you don't need a company to make millions of pounds for investors. When you look at your high street, you've got bakers and you've got insurance companies, service providers, and they make a living. They bring in a few £100,000 a year. They're able to support a few staff, and they're able to keep things ticking over. And these are the sorts of entities that can deliver impact. And they don't need to make profits, huge amounts of profits for investors, but they still can, but maybe not just as much. So we've been looking at social enterprise. It's a really interesting space to play in because it's at that boundary between companies limited by shares, and which is what we're all familiar with, and companies limited by guarantee, which are the sort of structures that you normally use for charities. And social enterprise sits in the middle between those two. And we've spent the last year or so working out, well, how are we going to do this for lots of startups and spin-outs coming out of Oxford? And we've worked it out. It's a complex space. You've got community interest companies which can sit on top of shares companies and guaranteed companies, but we've worked out a formula. And this is it. When people talk about social enterprise, there are people who who take a very narrow definition of social enterprise. We've taken a more broad definition, and our definition is that if you've got a social or an environmental objective that you want to protect inside the Articles of Association of the company, so the DNA, that's what defines a social enterprise. In our social enterprises, sometimes you need lots of money to start off So, you know, if you've got a bit of technology that needs to be developed, a platform, a software platform, but also, as with any companies, you can just start with absolutely no money whatsoever. You know, you can just start with a consultancy contract, a service contract, and you provide the service, and then you get paid, and then you've made your profit, and then you're away. So we have designed a set of documents which protects the social and environmental purpose of the company, and it's protected by the founders and the university, and each of those founders and the university has a power of veto over that clause being changed. So if an investor, a financier, a debt financier comes along and says, you know what, we want to give you some money, but actually only if you change the purpose of your company, that can't happen. Or it makes it much more difficult. It protects the purpose of the company. Now, at some point in the future, that company could convert into a community interest company if it wanted to. A community interest company is the entity that was designed for social enterprise in the UK, and it's almost like it works like a soft charity commission in which you list your objectives for your company, you know, define the community that you're wanting to serve, and you have a set of asset locks and various constraints that it puts on the company to make sure it keeps on doing what it was set up to do. Now that's what most people consider to be social, or a lot of people consider to be social enterprise, and if it's a community interest company, it isn't a social enterprise. Well, all of our companies can convert into community interest companies if they want, but what we want to give them is the freedom for their business model to evolve in a way in which that they can get the finance that the company needs in the way that it needs to. So sometimes it's better for it to be a shares company and to get some SEIS tax breaks for the investors that put the money into the company, and thereby pushing the company on in that way.
So welcome to my wife's office. God, we've moved around. We've been in Berlin, Oxford, and now we're at my home. And so just to finish off, how is it going to affect humanities and social sciences in particular? Because the social enterprise service that we've launched is to the entire university. It isn't just to humanities and social sciences. But when I looked across the humanities and social sciences division, I saw that the research that was taking part in those divisions in particular, the best method for delivering the impact in the form of spin-outs was as a social venture. When you've got departments such as the Blavatnik School of Government, when you've got international development, when you've got geography, when you've got the business school with its social enterprise bit, the SCOL, any innovations that are going to come out of there are going to be best delivered as social ventures. In geography, for instance, we've got interventions in Bangladesh, in sub-Saharan Africa, dealing with water shortages, in international development, Costa Rica, Central America, trying to reduce poverty. These are the sorts of things that it's not going to be good to be seen to make money out of for universities. And the academics never did this in the first place. They didn't want to make lots of money on the back of their research. They just wanted to solve the world's problems. We launched a social enterprise translational funding pot called the SE 2020, targeted at social and environmental impact projects. We got 38 applications for £500,000 in funding, and the applications totaled £1.4 million. So the demand for doing this sort of thing across the entire university is big. I anticipated it was going to be big, but potentially bigger than anybody in that anticipated, and so that's why I haven't done a blog for a while. I've been trying to manage all of that, but I will be back on the wagon, as it were, and I'm looking forward to tell you about more of what's going to happen and what our plans are for the future in social enterprise, and some of the more smaller things. Now, I know that I appreciate that I've whipped through social enterprise really quickly on this blog. If there's anything that you want to find out about more, in greater detail, I'm happy to go through it. and focus on a particular area for a future vlog. Until then, bye.